Welcome to Fridgestuck, the show all about Homestuck fridge facts. My name is Jen, your out-of-breath hostess, and this month's highly requested video is all about our jerk with the blood of gold, Sollux Captor. As a few viewers have pointed out, Sollux Captor was most likely named after the Gemini, aka the twins, from Greek mythology, Castor and Pollux. What was strange about this set of twins was that they had different fathers. Castor was the mortal son of Tyndareus, the king of Sparta, while Pollux was the divine son of Zeus, who seduced Queen Lydia in the guise of a swan. Okay. Due to their heritage, Pollux was immortal, and when Castor was killed, Pollux begged Zeus to share his eternal life with his brother so that they could stay together forever. Zeus agreed, turning the twins into the Gemini constellation. It's also worth noting that the star Pollux is a giant red, while Castor is a bluish-white, complementing the red-blue duality theme in Sollux's design. And boy, does Sollux enjoy duality! Everything he has or does relates to duality. Some of the more obvious connections to this are Sollux's shoes, his two dream selves and the clothes he wears on Prospect and Durst, his eye colors, his speech and typing pattern while alive, his exile club's deuce, and it's even in his Trollian screen name, Twin Armageddons. Twin Armageddons itself reflects two meanings. The first is the fact that he will die twice, once during the Troll's game session with the vast glub, and once after piloting the meteor to the green sun. The second is that he can be seen as a reference to the destruction of both the kids' and the Troll's universes from the activation of the tumor. Incidentally, the word mage is in the word Armageddons, coinciding with Sollux's class spec name. Sollux has many quirks related to the tumor. His eyes were red and blue, the colors of the two universes inhabited by the kids and the Trolls, respectively. After going blind, his eyes turn white and black, like his shoes, both corresponding to the outer coating of the tumor. Sollux is also a high-level psionic, a troll with the power of telekinesis. Because of this, he is the only character in Homestuck not to have an assigned strife deck, though he does dabble in throwing star kind from time to time. Sollux, again with his ever-present theme of duality, was close to two troll girls, the lowest-blooded, Aradia Megiddo, and the highest-blooded, Fefri Paces. They're also the only two trolls with alliterative chum handles. Did you notice that out of all the trolls, Sollux has the most relationships? That's right, canonically, Sollux is the most paired-up troll. Lol. The ancestor of Sollux Captor was the Psionic, a follower of the Sufferer, and the post-scratch incarnation of Matuna Captor. As his name would suggest, he was a psionic of unequaled telekinetic ability, who was inspired by the Sufferer to defy his masters and break out of the slavery typically assigned to his low class, or those with psychic powers. After he died, the Sufferer's closest friends either went into hiding or were sold into slavery, the Psionic falling into the latter category. The Psionic had the honor of being grafted into the flagship belonging to the Condescension, serving as her helmsman, directing and powering the engine with his psychic abilities as a living battery. It was during his tenure here that the Condis apparently grew fond of him, increasing his lifespan with her touch until he finally died as a result of the vast glub while traveling back to Alternia. Because of this, Sollux's ancestor, the Helmsman, is one of the few troll ancestors who are not dead by the start of Hivebent. This is a characteristic that he shares with Fefri and Aradia's ancestors, the Condess and the Handmaid. Coincidentally, these are the two female trolls for whom Sollux is likely to have red feelings for. Many theorists connect the Psionic to Christianity's Simon Peter, as he was a close friend and disciple to Jesus, who ended up dying in a torturous way. Personally, I have my doubts on this theory, unless the Paradox Space comics are actually canon. Catholics praise Peter as the first pope, but I still see a guy who was a total wreck as a disciple who cut a dude's ear off when they arrested Jesus. However, the helmsman, and probably Matuna, could allude to Geordi LaForge from Star Trek The Next Generation. Geordi wears a visor, has a yellow and black outfit, and serves in the position of helmsman on board the starship Enterprise. Also, a possibly related fact is that the helmsman's descendant, Sollux, went blind, and Geordi LaForge is blind. This connection I find more plausible than the former because Homestuck's creator, Andrew Hussey, is a Trekkie, having made several spoofy Star Trek edits on his old YouTube account. Continuing from the idea of a helmsman, a fun fact is that the Gemini twins were regarded as the patron saint of sailors, to whom they appeared as St. Elmo's Fire, named after St. Erasmus of Formia, who was also the patron saint of sailors. An atmospheric phenomenon, St. Elmo's Fire appears during stormy weather, when electricity discharges around narrow, pointed objects, like church spires or ship masts, taking the appearance of blue and red flames, much like how Sollux's psionic powers manifest. After his encounter with Eridan Ampera left him blinded, Sollux unwittingly began to mimic his ancestor in a number of ways. Sollux ends up wearing Pfeffery's goggles while working as the pilot for the Meteor during Sound Page Cascade, an act that ends up half-killing him in the end. The strip of blood that runs through the middle of Sollux's shirt also looks similar to the symbol for Psi, the 23rd letter of the Greek alphabet, and the first part of the Psionic's name. Sollux's two eyes are colored blue and red, while his blood is yellow. These comprise the three primary colors in the red-blue-yellow color model. Fitting in with this theme, when he becomes a sprite, his glasses are red and blue, while the rest of his body is outlined in green, a reference to the red-green-blue color scheme that is used in computer screens. Not to say that his character design stayed consistent. Sollux's shoes and eyes have both swapped the sides of their colors at various points in the story. I don't mean this as in they flipped his sprite, they actually swapped colors. His shoes are shown with the colors swapped when Sollux arrives at the asteroid along with Aradia, Dave, and Rose. His eyes are shown swapped in Sound Page Kanaya Return the Core when he starts to battle Eridan. Speaking of said battle, it's pretty symbolic that after Sollux loses his sight, his teeth, and most of his bifurcation motif, the blood from his mouth split the Gemini symbol of his shirt in half. He even loses his Lisp. Why does Sollux have a Lisp anyway? It's probably because there's also a programming language called Lisp. In a response to a question about whether any characters' names are the shortened versions of themselves, for example, Dave compared to David, Hussey stated that all the characters' names are their full names, apart from Sollux, whose name he confirmed to be Solluxander. Hussey! Speaking of whom, Hussey stated on his forum spring on the subject of Sollux's dual dream selves that the death of his waking self on his quest bed would cause both dream selves to ascend, and that they would be forced to duel to the death, a potentially eternal one, if they were left to their own devices due to the heroic just clauses. Of course, I personally can't take this statement at face value, considering that Hussey loves to troll the fan base, as would I, but it was something that needed to be addressed, especially considering that we do see a dead god tier Sollux in the dream bubbles. Sollux is the Mage of Doom. Sollux inherited the mage class from Mulin Leon, and his Doom aspect from his ancestor, Matuna. While Nepeta and Sollux do not have any strong connection to each other, Mulin and Matuna have shown to be close to two different trolls with opposing religious ideals. Post-Scratch as the Disciple and the Psionic with the Signless, and pre-Scratch with Kurlos Makara. Both the class and the aspect did not have the chance to be expounded upon during the webcomics run, so it looks like we're back at the Classpect speculation corner. Let's talk about the mage class first. The Mage class has only been attributed to 2 game players, but while fans have not been able to conclude whether it's a passive or active class, theorists have narrowed down how the Mage class heroes might have been given knowledge of, the ability to create, influence, or protect themselves from their aspect. The Mage class is most commonly thought to be the active counterpart to the Seer class. The player serves like a prophet, who receives knowledge of their aspect. Sollux, for example, was able to predict not only that their universe and whole race were doomed to destruction, but he also knew he would die twice, and that he would lose his sight before that. In addition, mages, like seers, seem to be more aware of their exile's commands, Sollux confusing Deuce's commands with another voice of the doomed. Alternatively, a mage might also have to do with gaining benefits of the aspect, but with a price. Despite being known to be a miracle worker when it comes to matchmaking, Muellen's own romantic history is ironically riddled with trouble and heartbreak. Meanwhile, Sollux is still half alive, despite being one who dies more than any other character in the comic. Not to mention, both Muellen and Sollux lose one of their senses, possibly due to their aspect. Another definition is that a mage is one who creates their aspect, which makes identifying the class as active or passive debatable. Sollux created the Trolls version of the game, and he created the Mobius double reach-around virus, which supposedly works like a curse that resulted in the death of the Trolls Luci, though it's actually prevented a far more sinister timeline in which Gamzee up and kills everyone. Meanwhile, Muellen's reputed skills as a masterful matchmaker bring together even the most unlikely pairings, which also supports this view. For those who lean towards the mage as a passive class, fans see it as being the counterpart to the witch class, meaning one who manipulates or is manipulated by their aspect. This can be shown by how Muellen is being manipulated by Kurlos, her former matesprit, and how Sollux was manipulated by the voices of the doomed, as well as ghostly Aradia. The mage class could also be synonymous to one given protection from the aspect's ill effects. This can come from how Sollux had 2 dream selves, was able to exit the dream bubble he was in, and only half died, while Muellen seems to have been spared heartbreak despite her romantic troubles. With all that said, if I had to figure out one phrase that described the mage class, it might sound something like one who receives knowledge and benefits pertaining to their aspect, but to the detriment of themselves. Whew! Dang, I still have to do the Doom aspect, don't I? The only known heroes of Doom are Sollux Captor, the Mage of Doom, and Mimicking Captor, the Heir of Doom. Both the heroes of Doom have had 2 dream selves, though this is most likely due to the Captors' duality theme. Both also foresaw incidents of danger, which leads to the possibility that those with the Doom aspect generally have some ability to foresee doom and calamity, no matter which class they are assigned to. Continuing with the aspect, Doom is most likely related to mass destruction, seen as the antithesis of the life aspect. Sollux, as the Mage of Doom, was inherently aware of the impeding destruction that would follow the Trolls' playing of the game, and was plagued by the screams of the imminently deceased. He also displayed remarkable skill at Till Death, a programming language which functions around things that are imminently doomed. Doom may also be the aspect of self-sacrifice, since Sollux sacrificed one of his half-ghosts to get the Trolls to the Green Sun, and Mimicking sacrificed his mental well-being to save his friends from an unknown threat. An alternative interpretation is that the Doom aspect could have to do with knowing the rules that apply to the Spurb sessions. For example, Sollux is able to hack the game, because he understands the constraints and the mechanisms of the system. Sollux is probably very skilled in binary code. You win this round, hussy. And our last fridge fact for Sollux Captor is... in Soundpage Attempt Rare and Highly Dangerous 5x Showdown combo, Sollux is shown rapidly fluctuating between flushed and colligonous feelings for Gamzee Makara. Sollux's entire shtick is duality, so of course he'd have 2 conflicting opinions of him. However, if one remembers more recent developments in the comic, this little scene gets a whole lot more sinister. Keep in mind that Sollux is blind and is not even looking in the same general direction as the High Blood. But who is Sollux looking at? Yeah. I'm sure you guys understand why this is significant. This little cowl on the meteor is the same one housing the unholy combination of Caliborn, Arqueous Sprite, and Gamzee. Well, half of Gamzee. It's possible that Sollux is sensing the Gamzee component residing within, along with the others, and has serious mixed feelings with what he's experiencing. Probably a good thing Sollux's eyeballs got fried out of his skull, or else we'd have a really serious problem on our hands. Thank you guys so much for watching this Fridgestuck episode for Sollux Captor. I hope you enjoyed. Any facts I missed? Do you have a character or a concept that you'd like to see? Leave it down in a comment below and it might end up on the show someday. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share with a friend, and I will see you all next time. Bye!
We fought with him.
Me, I died for him. Me, I trusted him.
Me, I loved him.
And me, I'm the damn fool that shot him.